So, you have a crush and a plan. It's perfect, really. You're going to go up to her and say,
"Were we gonna keep playing high tag, or are you gonna holler at your boy?"
And she will fall madly in love. Well, here it is. The big day. You gather up all your courage, go up to her and...
Hey, Jess, when are...
What? Ooh, you suck. So, how are we going to fix this? Well, the first step is to take that word fix and throw it in a bin. If you've ever been in a situation like the one I just described, you didn't do anything wrong. Let me explain. The thing is about talking to a crush is that you have to be willing to take a risk on your part. Before you do anything, you have to be willing to face rejection. And this is where a lot of people fail. They miss their opportunity because they're so scared of what might happen. There's this saying, the best time to start was 10 years ago. The second best time to start is now. Don't think about past mistakes or should-haves. Just do and see where it leads you. You will probably fail, but it's about how you handle failure that's important. Take it with humility. Set your ego aside and realize that making mistakes is a generally positive thing. They help you to improve more than anything else. You see, if you don't learn to face rejection early, your fear of the unknown will grow, and the longer you leave it, the harder it becomes to face that fear. So take action and make your intentions with your crush clear. And look, if you've had a crush on a girl for 6 months, told her you like her and she said, "I like you as a friend," just don't stick around. Move on. The whole friends to lovers thing can work if you both develop feelings at roughly the same time. Just don't take false hope over real opportunity. Speaking of real, let's talk about what a crush actually is. A crush is basically a lack of information. It's a fantasy created in your head, filling in the missing gaps about that person with qualities that you find attractive. In reality, women are just people, and people are flawed. Think about yourself, your friends, your siblings. You don't think of these people as perfect. You know what their flaws are, and you accept those things. A crush, then, is an escape from that reality. The chance for you to craft the ideal lover in your head. But this path will lead you only to disappointment, I can assure you, because you're setting expectations of that other person that they will never ever be able to match. So, how do we be real about this? Well, think about it this way. You have a set of qualities that are uniquely your own, and ideally, you want to find somebody that complements those qualities. Your involvement in each other's lives should be a net benefit. To find out whether your crush has these qualities, though, you have to speak to them. Okay, so how do you go about doing that? Well, it starts with the approach. It could be online, it could be in person. You need a bit of courage. Remember that our regrets in life largely come from things that we don't do. So with that in mind, let's go for it. Okay, so what do you say? Well, in person, there is, in my opinion, an opening line that is superior to all pickup lines or any other tricks, and that is just saying hello, or preferably any informal greeting. Like, seriously, that should be your opening line almost without exception. But what you follow that up with can vary. If this is a person you may never see again, you can follow up with some relevant observation or compliment. Try to think of something within her control, like her style or aura or whatever. That way, you're noticing a choice that she has made and are appreciating it. Online, it depends on where you are. On dating apps, it can be better to stand out and give a creative opener based on the girl's profile. On social media, you can swipe up and reply to a girl's story, or just message them with the hello or whatever greeting you use. If this is a school or work situation though, your aim should just be to have a regular conversation. Choose a topic that's relevant to you both and just talk about that. Either way, keep it fun, keep it simple, don't overthink it too much. Okay then, so you've said your first line. What happens now? Well, first of all, stay calm. Remember, you're just speaking to a normal person, and you have a genuine interest in getting to know them, but they may have absolutely no interest in getting to know you. If she says, "I have a boyfriend," or "go away," or just ignores you, then these are pretty good signs that your crush just doesn't want you, so just leave. But if she wants to talk to you, it should be pretty obvious, both online and in person, because she will engage in a conversation with you. Whether this is done out of politeness or genuine interest is something that will become obvious as you get into the conversation with her. If she's giving long responses and laughing, her body is faced towards you, these are good signs. But one-word answers, not making eye contact, acting indifferent towards you, not so good. But anyway, the conversation itself, what should you actually be talking about? Well, let's think about it. What does it mean to get to know somebody? What do you want to find out about? Their hobbies, interests, thoughts, opinions, family, beliefs, future, academia, work even? These are all things that you'd want to know about, so they're all on the table. I'd say a good start is to find out about what you have in common. What does she do in school, outside of school, or work, sense of humor, all that stuff. But how do you even get onto all of that stuff? Well, if you've started this interaction in person, you can talk for as long as you want, but eventually you'll need to secure your crush's number or Snap or Insta. To get your crush's details, you simply need to ask for them, and assuming you you do get them, then we can move on to the next stage. And for this next stage, let me share something with you that you can use to generate not just unlimited conversations, but deep ones too. Before that, we have to talk about a problem. Most of us don't know how to listen. We grew up doing it passively. In other words, you hear the words that the other person is saying, but you don't really take them in. You spend most of your time formulating your response in your head as the other person is speaking. More than anything, you're just waiting for your turn to speak. But there's a better way to communicate. It's called active listening. The next time somebody is speaking to you about something they're interested in, just sit and listen. Take it all in. Make eye contact, not constant, that's weird. Nod along, whatever. Then after they've finished speaking, take some time to think and picture this. It's called the question matrix. You may have seen it before in school, but it's actually incredibly useful because it gives you just about every type of question that exists. You don't have to memorize this grid by any means. Just take a look at it once in a while to remind you of what you can ask and of which questions are deep and of which are more simple. You can then use the question matrix to craft thoughtful questions, but do also keep in mind the type of conversation you want to have. You don't want your crush to feel like they're being interviewed. The type of information you're looking for is stuff that is fun to talk about. Lore, if you will. Stories, unique experiences, thoughts, feelings, opinions, odd or memeable things. You want to find out things that you can make inside jokes about, things you can tease playfully, things that make the two of you laugh, but also things that give you insight into that person's inner world. As an example, let's say you have a girl who is interested in dancing, something you know nothing about. Well, in the first instance, you'll have found this out by asking what are your hobbies/interests, but using our methods, we can build a whole conversation tree if your crush is engaged enough in the conversation. We could ask, why do they dance? How does dancing make them feel? The funniest or weirdest dancing stories, the best and worst types of dancing. You could get her to teach you some moves. Does she enjoy the competitive side of dancing? Top 3 best and worst moments. Would she ever want to become a dance teacher? What are her thoughts on Dancing with the Stars or Strictly Come Dancing, the TV show? I mean, AI could give you a list of hundreds of things in literal seconds if you're doing this via text, but in person, remember that there are just so many possibilities. Of course, if your crush just gives you unengaged answers, maybe they're not interested or maybe they're just shy, but either way, you want to give your crush the opportunity to talk about themselves as much as possible. Okay, so this is all a bit overwhelming, but try not to overthink it too much. When you start trying to play 4D chess, you will overthink every detail, and it's a very unhealthy way to live. Just try to be spontaneous, converse in the moment. Don't worry about asking the right or the perfect thing. Just see where a conversation takes you. On the flip side, don't overwhelm your crush. Feel free to change topics and take the conversation in whatever direction feels the most interesting. Take a genuine interest in what the other person is saying as well, or at least try. People have a good sense of when you're not actually listening to them. Okay, so what about the whole romantic element of talking? One of the hardest things to gauge is just how forward one should be in conversation. Really, how directly you flirt with your crush really depends on the situation. Overall though, you'll just want to start with playful teasing and work your way up from there. Generally, if your crush is receptive to this and doing it back to you, then that's a good signal that you can step things up a little bit. What you don't want to do is go in and be some sort of sexual deviant. Going in with aggression, sending unsolicited naked photos, being degrading. If that's how you're starting your interaction with a girl, then just stop. Self-reflect a little bit and you'll realize that this isn't the way. Ultimately though, it's up to you to find the right balance along this spectrum. You don't want to be a completely subservient simp. I would recommend that you take the lead a little bit and be confident and balance this again with humility. That is, you're sure of what you are and what you want, but you don't think you're better than anyone else and you don't think you deserve special treatment or are entitled to anything. You respect your crush's boundaries, you value their right to privacy, and you accept that they're their own person with their own mind. This actually brings us onto a broader topic of being a good person in general, and to an interesting question. What is the difference between being a good person and a nice guy? Well, a nice guy is only nice to somebody because he wants something from them. It's completely fake and inauthentic, which makes it deeply unattractive. As a nice guy, you give excessive generic compliments. You dedicate an unhealthy amount of time to a person, calling that person out when they don't reply in a time frame that you deem acceptable. You also refuse to accept rejection, being unable to accept no from the person you're talking to. You probably also have unrealistic expectations of that person, expecting them to never be critical or in a bad mood or do anything that interrupts your vision of what they should be. Being a good person is an entirely different thing. You don't feel entitled to another person's time or energy just because you feel like you deserve it. You understand what you offer as an individual, and you understand that what you offer will appeal to some and not to others. You don't put others down, and your presence makes people's lives better. Okay, so all of that is good, but a relationship with your crush won't develop unless there's physical attraction. And I'll be honest with you, physical appearance does matter, and being physically unattractive will limit your options. If your crush decides that she isn't attracted to you for whatever reason, just move on. This isn't to say don't work on yourself, but I am saying that Only improving yourself for the validation of someone else is a terrible way to think. Improve yourself because it's something you want to do for your own sake. Find someone who accepts you for who you are right now and helps you to become who you want to be. Don't change who you are to fit what you think someone else wants. Also remember that physical attraction isn't always instant. It can grow over time, and the more you work to improve yourself, the more attractive you'll become. Adding to that, remember that it's not just your face that someone might find attractive. Your clothes, your hygiene, your hair, your style, your scent, your physique all add to your overall attractiveness. I would say then improve, but don't hyper-obsess. The goal is not to look like a male model. It should be to optimize what you can, and where you can to be the best version of yourself. Set realistic goals and keep your expectations grounded, and trust me, you'll be a lot happier for it. Also keep in mind that your overall value as a man is much more than the physical. We talk a lot about protecting and providing as a man, but we don't often talk about things like our interests, beliefs, goals, ambitions, hobbies. Just having these things gives you value as a person. It gives you depth. It allows you to bring your crush into an entirely new world. Your world. One that's full of opportunity and adventure. One that's exciting and new, and one that's unique to you. So to finish, I'll ask you this. What are you still waiting for? Go away and turn possibility into reality.